One of the guys who showed up to Discord, he showed me this channel, Martin Goldberg, and it's more Lookism garbage, and it needs to be debunked. Of course, he called it black pill. I think Lookism probably sounds too liberistic for him. So he's going to talk about the black pill, and he's going to talk about sticks and hammer. Someone says that sticks and hammer proves Lookism wrong, and they're right about that. And Martin Goldberg, he's going to uh, scramble to say that it's not true. So let's hear what he has to say.
That I received. I would like to be doing more videos weekly, but I'm also trying to not get sucked back into the vortex of holy matrimony with Google and content creation, where it becomes almost a divine mandate. You must do this. It's a duty. And we're seeing so many folks who, as they're getting demonetized, the algorithm's going against them, they're just having mental breakdowns. They're not able to make money. I'll chase that high elsewhere, just my personal opinion.
Exactly. He's only against it just because he realizes he's unlikely to make money from it. That's true. But if Goldberg could make money from this, he would do it. And the whole unholy matrimony would be fine.
In any case, we have this particular message, and it goes as follows. Mr. Goldberg, I am a field representative of the 76th Spoon-Clanking Regiment. I must quite proudly announce that I have completely annihilated your black pill philosophy and its teaching on looks by using the vaunted and shining example of my very own Lord Commander, Styxhexenhammer666. He proves in his ability to secure a viable mate despite how terrible things are, that a man's appearance really is unimportant.
He is right, because I have a playlist called Girls Go for Status, and it talks about this in every video, and it shows it so. So this guy's right. So by rights, all I should be hearing from this Martin fella, this Goldberg fella, is that, oh, I was wrong, and let's move on. By the way, Goldberg, I was starting to fall for Lookism, and someone simply pointed this out to me. And I immediately snapped to and said, wow, something, that's a good point. So Lookism is obviously wrong. Sorry, black pill. So it shows you that I have some ability to change how I think. Let's see if it's true for you.
How does it feel, Mr. Goldberg, that I have destroyed your sorrow and wickedness in one felling blow? Well, my little soybean, as it turns out, Styx actually amplifies and magnifies the truths of the black.
Oh my God. So first of all, he calls him a soybean. So you're saying this guy's low testosterone. Why does this guy have to be low testosterone just because he disagrees with you? At the very least, you have to disprove him. And we'll see.
Black pill. And you might not realize, you have to kind of parse a bit more, and you'll start to understand. So for those who don't know, Styxhexenhammer, he's been on YouTube for over a decade. I believe he started as a progressive, then he became a libertarian. Now he calls himself a classical liberal, which, as we know, is just an edgy right-winger in disguise. I will be recasting the video on classical liberalism because so many people who adopt it don't seem to know the history or what it actually entails. But in any case, for a period he was a Satanist, and then he came back to religion. So now, of course, he worships Donald Trump.
Yeah, Styxhexenhammer is a chameleon. He doesn't really have any views other than those that he will give him e-fame and money. That's true. He has no integrity. He has no principles. And you're right about that. And you're right about classical liberal just being an edgy right-winger. But it just goes to show you that there's a lot of guys out there. They want the girl, they have to make the money. They look for any way that it succeeds and they go for that.
In any case, they say, well, you look at him. I don't know if that's him. I don't know where that came from, actually. Oops.
It's funny you say that because this is the thumbnail to your video. So if you don't know if this is him or where it comes from, why would you show this in your thumbnail talking about this? It doesn't really speak to honesty on your part.
This is supposedly an older picture. This is prior to more of his fame. I'm not aware if this is the same chick that he was singing the sad love songs about when they broke up like a year or a year and a half ago. It could be someone else. They say if you can go from that over to this, that was the wedding announcement video. She's kind of chill. He's beaming. He's really happy, which is good for him, to be clear.
This is another thing. Why is this good for him? This woman, he was only able to procure because he gained wealth and status. So that's why she's with him. So why would you celebrate this? I would say it looks good on him, but it's not really good for him. Unless you like just being someone who the woman is only there for the wealth. And frankly, that's what guys have to be if they want the woman in their life. Women are not capable of loving men for who they are.
And this is another picture. So they say, if he can get a chick like this, then looks don't matter. I understand the argument. Unfortunately, it's not very compelling.
What are you talking about? Here, let me show you something. Here's Danny DeVito, voted sexiest man alive at one time. Sexiest man. And of course, he breaks what you're talking about, your looks, right? He also breaks the idea of height because Danny DeVito isn't even 5 feet tall. I think he's 4'10" or 4'11". So let us continue.
He's not the worst looking dude. There was some guy on his Patreon announcement video that said he looked like a snail. That's a little bit harsh. But it is important to note, he claims to be 6'2", and if you look at this picture, he might be, I could see that, or at least 6 feet. It's hard to tell because of how the photo has been taken.
Okay, you're grasping at straws. This is why I picked up Danny DeVito in particular, because he's not even 5 feet tall. So height doesn't mean anything in the end.
Taken. So height does matter. Height's not everything, but height is a big factor.
Oh, the other thing is physique. That earlier pic you showed, he has no physique. And it doesn't look any different here, Goldberg. So are you trying to say that height is going to make up for everything? Is Hexenhammer the alpha male you guys talk about?
The other two elements, if you don't have looks, right, we talk about money and status, and sometimes money and status can outweigh looks. Doesn't mean that looks don't matter even to the woman.
Not sometimes, they always do. At the bottom of the pile is ugly broke men. One up from them is good-looking broke men. Good-looking broke men are almost at the bottom. There's all kinds of good-looking guys that have no money or fame that girls don't want to deal with. Maybe they'll bang if they get drunk one night and they feel horny. That's it.
In question, it's just that those can be considerable factors. So, as far as money is concerned, I think he makes like 50 or 60K on Patreon and other sites a year, which is an okay income. And then he also claimed to have sold like 20,000 copies 3 years ago.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he built up enough money that he was able to bribe this woman into his life. That's true. Uh, all this that you're talking about doesn't prove your position. It proves the position of the guy who made his claim against you.
In this case, it's status. Okay, let's be real. He is an e-celebrity. Around 15 or 16, when he sort of abandoned libertarianism to support Trump, that's when he got a lot of supporters. And when you have that presence, it matters a great deal. I mean, take it from me.
Okay, you're destroying your own position. He gained status. That's right. And then he was able to get this girl. So how does this prove your lookism? Sorry, again, black pill philosophy. How does it support it in any way?
I only had like 30K subscribers at the time. There was some Blasian chick with a big YouTube channel. I think she's from Canada, but she lived in the US, and I don't remember the name. Started trying to flirt with me, sending me messages. I had another one that wanted to be in a relationship who had her own channel. A couple in the comments.
Did these girls that were flirting with you when you reached 30K, did they know what you look like, Goldberg? Or did you just see this icon? So you are admitting that once you hit a certain status, that they came after you, and they probably don't even know what you look like. So again, how is this guy who said your black pill nonsense is nonsense? How's this proving him wrong?
One chick, and this was a real black pill, she just had like a Twitter account or whatnot. She would comment on my videos, but she had pictures with her boyfriend on the account. They were still in a relationship, right? And he was a good looking guy in all honesty, but she said, oh, I feel guilty, but you're so cute or whatever.
So she was with a good looking guy, and she was going to monkey branch to you because you had higher status than him. You just disproved your lookism theory. So why are you embarrassing yourself? I'm curious, why? It also goes to show you that the girls don't love men for themselves. That guy, her boyfriend, I bet he thinks she loves him. But she's one of the bad ones, right?
Married. These are guys who try to claim that game and red pill, all that BS works. But if a guy who's short or less attractive gets an attractive wife, well, he's signing a contract for the booty, as I said before. He's committing to financially, socially, emotionally support her for decades. So you can't try to claim that that disproves the black pill.
Okay, then I will. Let me show you something else, Martin. Let's look at one of these gorgeous men, Hugh Jackman, who's got it all. He's got the fame, the money from movies. He's, as you can see, he's what probably over, he is over 6 feet. He's probably 6'1", 2, maybe even 3. And he's gorgeous. Why did he get married? Like, this is the total package. This guy has it all. And he has one of those great personalities that one say, he has such a great personality. One of those great personalities that don't matter if you're just a broke nobody. But why did he get married, Goldberg? Why isn't he just pumping and dumping and that's his grand life? Because all guys try to gain this special girl, just like you. You talk about, a decent quality girl or a decent girl. And of course, that's what they're going for. Why? The hump and dump guys, they really don't exist. All men try to procure this woman who they want to love them for themselves. Men want validation from women. And they want consistency. They want to know that they wake up, she's going to be there. Uh, they want to know that to go to work, to come home, she'll be there too. That's what they want. They don't want what you're talking about, right? Now, just as a bonus, I'm going to include this at the end. The Lookism is destroyed, but I also want to point out that even Goldberg here talks about the high value man. High value man just means a man with money. So why doesn't Goldberg and all these guys just say rich men, right? I mean, there's just, if all your high value is just you have money and fame, then you don't have, it talks nothing about your inner person or the qualities of you at all. I could win the lottery tomorrow and I'd be a high value man. Anyway, let's listen to this.
Because they interpreted him as essentially claiming high value men don't have issues with women, and if you're a high value guy, you still get married despite all the evidence to the contrary.
Well, when he says high value men, rich men have no problem with women, he means rich men can bribe a woman into his life. He can bribe the fake love into his life. So he's right about that. And they do get married. Like I showed you, Hugh Jackman, who was top dog, got married.
I'm not going to deny that he's in some ways subversively mocking certain elements of the manosphere, but I believe his message overall has been rather misinterpreted because the manosphere is an echo chamber, and so whenever someone presents an opposing view, it's like a feeding frenzy.
Goldberg, I wouldn't call what you said a feeding frenzy, but when someone gave you a competing argument, you didn't change your mind. Matter of fact, you said that they proved that your position, even though they didn't, your position was destroyed, and yet you claimed otherwise. How are you different than the MGTOW and the manosphere?
So we'll go into that. The first category I believe Kevin Samuels is referring to would be a high value guy. Trump, overall high value. He was born into wealth. He made his wealth more expansive. And he's been divorced a few times, but never really destroyed financially because he...
Exactly. This is a younger Donald Trump, right? I think Ivana is his wife's name, or his ex-wife's. He was never a good-looking guy. Maybe you can brag that he's tall, but he was never a good-looking guy. He just has money, and he had enough of it that he could bribe his ex-wife to go away. He could bribe her into his life, and he could bribe her to go away to get a new one.
He has the right prenuptial agreements, maybe blackmail. He has good lawyers. So if you're already entrenched in that world, you're in a totally different position, and you might be able to have a semi-successful marriage as far as raising kids. I know that's debatable, but you didn't see Trump losing half his fortune. It was not like Mel Gibson with his wife or some of these others.
Exactly. So if Mel Gibson loses enough money, he probably can't get another woman. Well, he's still famous, but it won't last unless he can make enough money again. Right. So this high value just means, does the man have wealth or not? It has nothing to do, there's no value to it. You're not a high value man if your value is in your money, something that's separate from you.
It was a billionaire from the Midwest Energy who his wife was going to get $1 billion check and she said it's not enough. That's someone who started out not rich, got married, and then became rich much later. So that's where he wasn't really high value to begin with. And then we have Bezos-chan. Bezos is oft cited as, oh, this is what happens to successful men, but he wasn't a high value man when he got married. He was a random, computer whiz, and he married an empowered bookworm. and he probably didn't anticipate he was going to be one of the richest men in the world. She took.
Now, this is what we call moving the goalpost. So he wasn't a real high value man because he wasn't born into money. But everyone agrees that high value just means the rich. When women get on dating sites and look for a high value man, Goldberg, and they show Jeff Bezos, do they say, oh, he has to be born into his money? No, he just has to have the money. If I won the lottery today, every woman would consider me a high value man. They wouldn't say the vast majority of this guy's life he was poor. They wouldn't even consider that. And same with Bezos. So I hope you're not going to try to say Bezos isn't a rich man or that it doesn't count because he wasn't born into it.
A huge chunk when he decided he wanted to screw someone else, because to be perfectly honest, he may have never had another woman besides Mackenzie. He's a nerd, right? I mean, just saying, especially.
Sorry, I didn't mean to break it up so much, but to make it clear, what's Goldberg trying to say here? That if Bezos had women in the past, that he wouldn't want to have access to other women, that he would have been happy with this one woman, that he would never lust after another woman. Like, come on, dude.
The time period they were growing up, it is entirely possible. So that's there, right? When we're talking about real high value men versus guys who rose up into wealth but were already married, so kind of got screwed because when he got married, I doubt he had very good legal advising.
Holy cow. So he's moved the goalpost. Bezos isn't a real high value man because he wasn't born into his money. So, my God, this is a bad joke. Goldberg, you are a bad joke. You are reaching, and this in straw manning. Well, maybe straw manning is the wrong term. Sorry. But you are reaching in goalpost moving to try and say that you aren't wrong. You are wrong. And they're right. I mean, Jeff Bezos here, if he lost a ton of money in a divorce, it just goes to show you being successful doesn't make you immune. If anything, it makes you a bigger target. Because here's the thing, Goldberg, female nature has nothing to do with the love of a man. They do not love men. They marry us because we provide for them or we have status, and they divorce us in a heartbeat when they're tired. All the Bezos money in the world didn't keep this woman happy. And it has nothing to do with her being empowered. Because again, you're trying to naively suggest there's some woman that wouldn't do that. She stayed with him. She didn't love him. You know, she got to go together with him because he had money, and she got tired of him. He left him. But that's generally the male experience anyway. The divorce rate went through the roof and just grew and grew and grew. If it slowed down at all, it's only because women are getting married less. And one of the guys pointed out that the ones that do get married, the interim between getting married and getting divorced is getting smaller. That's the thing that guys never talk about too. Like it might have been 10 years between marriage and divorce. And now it may only be 5 or less. Like one of the guys pointed out to me, women get married knowing they're going to get divorced. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent now because I've made my point. Goldberg, you don't know what you're talking about. You are naive, probably incel. You probably want to get married, but you know you can't. You know enough that there's no woman who's going to be there for you because they love you. And you have no ability to stop some woman from falsely accusing you or divorcing, raping you, or making you pay child support. And guess what, Goldberg? I don't believe you're pump and hump guy, or sorry, pump and dump guy. Those guys don't really exist. But anyway, I think I've made my point, and this black pill bullshit has proven to be just that, bullshit.